forefront, and I wanted to jump on and just share some thoughts that I've been having as we have been in what I would call the twilight zone the last few weeks to a month. Life has just very quickly turned itself upside down in a lot of ways, and so I wanted to jump on and encourage you. There's one of the things that I've been talking about for a long time has really come to the forefront of what I'm talking to my students and my audience about. And I wanted to just be real concise, I guess, with the message and share with you that tomorrow I'm so excited my podcast launches, and that's a part of this story. About a month ago, I was in San Diego at Social Media Marketing World, and actually, if you back up even further, I wrote a book, Sweet Spot Revenue, just about my journey. Last year, I spent a lot of time reflecting on my journey of 15 years in business, 16 years of having my own business, building it, pivoting, all of those things along the way. And what started but as a way to supplement my husband's income, I had no vision for creating a big business. I had no vision for creating for growing. It just was, I just want to make some money so that I don't have to leave my kids and go back to work. And that's how I started. And so along the way, I've learned to develop a vision, to discover a deeper why to what I'm doing, and have found a lot of joy and passion behind that in that journey. And so that's part of what my podcast is going to start out with, is it actually includes the audio to my book, but it's not just about me. It's about wanting to share. I want to share my story. I think there's power in sharing our stories. I found when I share mine, it opens up for other people to share theirs, but there's lessons to be learned. I've been doing this a long time, and I share about 13 lessons that I've learned along the way to hopefully help you guys and keep you from having to learn those the hard way, like I have in some ways. So that's really the point of it. But I thought, I should turn this into a podcast. But I really still, again, didn't have a big vision for a podcast until I went to Social Media Marketing World about a month ago. And I had been recording this and preparing for it over the last 6 months or so, but it was just always going to the back burner. And so at Social Media Marketing World, I decided that I was really convicted, actually, that I need to be putting this on the forefront of what I'm doing in my business. And I need to be really putting some energy behind it and thought behind and planning and strategy behind why I am doing the podcast and what I'm going to do and hope to accomplish with it. But I want to tell you a bigger part of that story, okay? My message, really, what I've learned in the last few years, is this power of connection. I think we are created, I believe we are created for community with each other. I think we die when we don't have community, and that's just a big part of being human. And here we are in this world today where many of us are quarantined in our own homes. We're home with our family, and there's that community, but we're missing the greater community, whether it's in your church, whether it's in your workplace, in your community, wherever it is. We're missing that because we're home. And I have learned the value of using the internet over the years to build community and engagement. And I think that now is the time to have a loud voice to share with other people that you can do this too. The reason that in community, I want to talk real quick about 3 ways to stay connected, okay? Like I said, we are needing community, so there's a purpose behind it. We do better when we're interacting with each other, when we can share ideas, when we can share loss, when we can share joys. Those are magnified when we are in community with people, right? So how in today's world can we stay connected? And I've come up with 3 ways, 3 ways to stay connected. I'm sure there's a lot more, but these are my thoughts. Number 1 is to communicate. We need to be communicating because of this need for community. So for what that might look like in your world right now is getting out of your comfort zone a little bit, getting onto a Zoom call, doing a Facebook Live, doing a FaceTime call, something where you are seeing people face to face and actually building those relationships. Now, I know it's not the same as going, when you're face to face with somebody, actually sitting, having a cup of coffee, but I can promise you that it's the next best thing, and it will continue to enrich and deepen those relationships, so that when all of this is behind us and we actually do get to sit face to face, there hasn't been a gap. We can just continue to grow deeper together and build that community. So communicating is really important. It's important to be stepping up and taking initiative to be communicating with those people around us. If you are an influencer and you have an audience and people who are following you, I feel like I have a responsibility to be communicating even more now, even though my audience is mostly remote and I do most of my work is online. I feel a responsibility to step up my game, and to be communicating more with my community. Especially in times of crisis. That's how we lead, right? We lead by showing up. And so just getting on, doing a video like this, posting in a group, encouraging each other, those are things that we can be doing to communicate. Number 2, 3 ways to stay connected. Number 1 was to communicate. Number 2 is to communicate again. Okay, so communicate again, it's important, and it's important to be able to use and to learn how to use and to step out of our comfort zone with using technology. I know for me, hitting a certain age has made it a little bit more difficult to get my mind around some of the technologies. My daughter laughs at me all the time because I struggle with Instagram for some reason, and I just don't feel like I have the brain space to learn something new. But it's really important that we're willing to try and to have someone walk alongside us and learn how to use technology right now so that we can stay in community and communicating with each other. All right. So number 1 was, we need the 3 ways to stay connected. Number 1 is to communicate. Number 2 is to communicate. And number 3, if you want to guess, it's also to communicate. We need to be communicating as leaders and influencers. We need to be stepping up because there is a huge need for leadership right now. People are wanting someone to step up and to just kind of hold the pieces together for them. And when I read a book not too long ago, a couple of years ago, and in it was talking about leadership, and in it was saying that when there's crisis, the leaders will step up. You will see that's like a natural filter. Everything will sift down, and the leaders will step into the opportunity that's there to lead, because they see gaps and they don't see someone stepping in, and they will step into it. Guys, it's time for you to step into that leadership and to lead by communicating. It's so important right now to be taking that initiative to communicate. When we're communicating with each other, it helps alleviate fear. It helps us feel a little bit safer, that we're not, there's a camaraderie. We're not alone. It's very, very important. So 3 ways to stay connected. I made it really easy. Number 1 is to communicate. Number 2 is to communicate. And number 3 is to communicate. Okay. So that's what's needed, I think, right now to stay connected. I'm sure there's other things that we can be doing, but those have just been on my heart and my mind, and I wanted to share those with you really quick. And I also wanted to address, how does that tie into my podcast, right? So what I have been really convicted about is to not just that it's good strategy. I've learned that podcasting is, I'm still learning a lot, but I understand the value of that more than other technologies and platforms that I was looking into. So I have moved podcasting to the forefront in my business because I see such a value with it. But what's really lit a fire under me is what's going on in our world right now, and that need that I'm seeing for communicating and for community. So my desire is to use that podcast as a tool to be able to communicate with my audience and to be able to continue to stay connected with. So I'm very excited to share it with you, and to share with you my story, to share with you what I've learned along the way. That's really the point. If we have a journey and we don't learn anything, that's kind of a bummer. I've learned a lot along the way, and I want to share that with you because I think that that's valuable for you as well. So it launches on Wednesday, the 25th. And there'll be more information coming out for you, but I wanted to just step in real quick and share with you just kind of my thoughts about why I'm doing this now, And I really want to encourage you. My goal and my mission is to encourage and to equip and empower you in your business and in your influence. I think that we are created to influence and to impact and for the community. So let me encourage you, and I'm excited. I'd love to get feedback on what you think about the podcast, and just excited for it to launch. I'll see you guys in the groups.